This is the plaintiff, Glenn Gittleson. He says he hired the defendant after last year's hurricane to convert his heater from oil to natural gas. And, well, the guy botched the job. He was supposed to remove the old rusty oil tank from the crawl space of his house. Didn't, and left him with one big mess to deal with. Some people. He's suing for $1,086.20, the amount it cost him to have someone else remove the tank. This is the defendant, Jerry Hogan, owner of Hogan Plumbing and Heating, Inc. He says he was contracted to convert 21 homes and gave everyone the same exact deal. There were a couple of homes, the plaintiffs included, where he couldn't get to the oil tanks to remove them because they were buried behind sheetrock walls. Bottom line, everything passed inspection, and the plaintiff is just bitter because he lost out on millions of dollars he was waiting on, which didn't come through. So now he's taking it out on him. He's accused of being a slippery businessman.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff hired the defendant to convert his heater from oil to natural gas, and he says the guy botched the job and stole his oil to boot. But the defendant says the job was fine, and the plaintiff is bitter over losing $1 million on an unrelated deal. It's the case of oil's not well that ends well.
Glenn Gittleson?
Yes.
You are suing Hogan Plumbing and Heating, represented here by Mr. Hogan. You're the owner? All right, for $1,086.20 that you say you are out as a result of him breaching the contract.
Correct.
Talk to me. What happened?
Okay, on about the fall of 2011, a group of homeowners on my street wanted to get together in order to convert our homes from oil to gas. You need a minimum number of people to commit in order to have National Grid come and run the gas lines to the street and then to your home.
And was there something that had happened that had caused you folks to decide?
Well, we had just survived Hurricane Irene.
Okay.
And everybody was, we got to do something.
Everybody was ready for the change.
Something different. We wanted to get the ability to maybe put gas generators in, things like that. Who knew Hurricane Sandy was coming?
Right.
This was a year before that.
Okay.
So we got the minimum number of people to commit to do the oil to gas conversion, so National Grid will bring the gas lines to the street at no expense to the homeowners. The next thing we needed was a plumber to do the job. We had about 15 to 20 people that had committed.
It's a nice contract.
Right. And Don Hogan Plumbing came recommended to the group, including myself. On October 18th, he came to my house. He looked around both inside and outside, whatever it is plumbers look at, and he drew up a contract in his handwriting. I have a copy to show you. He listed everything he was going to do, which included the removal of the oil tank existing in my home.
Let me see the contract. So how did you find out, who contacted you and said, we have 20 homes for you to do?
One of his neighbors, Lenny Butterman.
And how do you know Lenny Butterman?
He just called me up. I was referred to
from
other people. Excuse me?
I'm just trying to imagine, was it Christmas Day that you got the phone call? I'm just trying to imagine in your business, it must be something to all of a sudden get 20 homes at once.
It was nice. It was nice, right? A great job. Everybody was happy.
Did you go to each home in order to do the estimates?
Yes. Met with everybody personally.
Each home. So you looked at the situation in each home?
Yes.
Oh, you didn't do like a generic contract for everybody?
No.
Okay, so this one's in handwriting, and this one says, I will install a certain type of gas boiler set up for 3 zones and 1 for...
Line 5 is the oil tank removal if you're looking for
Buderas.
It's German.
Buderas.
It's good stuff.
That's 120 direct hot water heater and a new parts, blah, 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 blah. Let's get to the part. Expansion tank, air elimination ball valves, chimney liner, oil tank removal.
It's in there.
Blah, 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 more blah, blah.
Right.
Everything else is fine except what?
Well, the problem is the contract, the oil to gas conversion was executed and completed, but at the end of the day, Don Hogan refused to remove the oil tank from my home, even though he was committed to.
Why did you refuse to remove the oil tank?
When we arrived in the morning, I told Glenn, I said, yours is one of the oil tanks we cannot get out. I told him in the morning when I arrived there.
Why?
Because it's under the stairs and you'd have to take a wall down to get it out.
So
I don't
didn't you know that before you wrote the contract?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know. I didn't realize, I didn't look in there and see that I couldn't get around it. There's two.
Okay, wait. You're going to have to explain to me how. Were you blindfolded?
I didn't go in the closet to look.
Who did? Someone else?
Nobody until we got there that morning.
No, but when that's why I asked you the question. Did you personally go see each house, or did you sort of cut corners and make a generic contact for everybody? If you personally went to see that house, how could you not have known then that you would have to take down a wall to get out the tank?
I thought we could fit around the tank. I didn't even go in the closet and look. So
why is that on him?
So does a workman have a duty to investigate before he makes the deal?
Yes, it's his responsibility before signing on to the deal to do that.
And if he doesn't investigate and it turns out that's going to cost him a lot more to do the job, can he back out or change the deal?
I don't know if he can back out, but should at least give permission before he proceeds. And if not, you can stop the job. I don't know. I mean, he can't lose that much money.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
You refused to take it out.
I told him I couldn't take it out.
Well,
so I'm not going to take the wall down. And he paid me in full. Loved the job. The job came out beautiful.
He paid. Put your hand down. He paid you in full after you told him that?
Yes. I left that day with my check.
Out of curiosity, why did you pay him in full after he told you
Your
that?
Honor, thank you. It's a long day to have 4 or 5 workers in your house between the noise and the mess that was left and him insisting. His response to me at the end of the day, why aren't you removing the tank? Number one, the way I'm leaving it is fine, which it wasn't. Number two, he demanded to be paid in full, and he said, I can't get into the cut around the tank, so I can't remove it. The way I'm leaving it is fine. And he wanted to be paid in full. So why did I pay him in full? I know people have asked me, why don't you hold some money back? Well, the conversation with him was going nowhere regarding his obligation to this contract.
It would make, but he's going to go somewhere. He's not going to camp at your house. So in the future, it's a better idea not to pay him full.
Yeah.
However, we're here. And so what was it that led you to understand that it was not okay to leave it there? I understand that you bargained for it, you paid for it, and you want it done. But my question is, did you learn that it was dangerous somehow to leave it there? Or you just don't want it there?
Yeah, the tank, what I learned subsequent was I hired a second company, Port Tank and Fuel, to have that tank removed. I wanted it removed. It's part of the contract, number one. Number two, it's an old tank. It's rusted from the outside. It was never going to be used again, and it needed to come out because the risk is, even if you take the oil out of the tank, there's still sludge in the tank. And if that ever rusts through, you will never get the only way you correct that is to have your concrete. It's an above ground tank, and it's not, I have pictures to show you. It's not some hard area to get to. You don't have to knock down walls. There was no negotiating. Don Hogan gave me a fee for this contract, and he wrote it, and we both signed it. And when I hired the second company, man, he came in, he went into the crawl space. I have color photos to show you from how it was left to its removal. And
let me see the
sorry, he said that I'm going to go in there with a Sawzall and a shop vac, a Sawzall to open up the tank, suction out the remaining sludge, and then I'm going to cut the tank into pieces and bring it out.
And that's how he did it.
Which is exactly
how he didn't
how
end
we
up
did.
knocking a wall.
No.
It was just some work, some extra work.
There you go.
How much did you pay this fellow to do that?
$1,000 plus tax. I have that invoice if you'd like to see
That's
it.
the $1,086.20. Please
is
hand me
what-
the invoice. But what I want to know is there, I mean, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not judging you.
Right.
It might bother me for it to be in there, for me to have paid to take it out, and it's not out because, like I might want a non-offending thing out too. I'm just asking you, did anybody tell you that it was dangerous to leave it there?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Who did? The fellow you paid to? And why? What's the risk?
Because he said if it ever leaks through, the oil tank had tanks rust from the outside.
And if it leaks through what? That's
the sludge comes out. Besides the odor, it's a hazard waste material.
Okay.
Now that hits the concrete. The only way to get the odor out is to have the concrete repaved in that crawl space.
Okay, Mr. Hogan, how is it that you have a contract that calls for you to do something, you don't do it, the owner pays to have somebody else do it, the owner presents you with the bill of what it cost him, and you don't reduce the owner's bill by that amount? And how is it that this happens in a case where you got 20 businesses, 20 contracts? Because you don't look so good right now.
I understand that. Mr. Gittleson, it seems like I wasn't even there because he was the nicest guy to me the whole time we were there, to my guys, to everybody.
Yeah, because he sort of bought the thing that it didn't matter. And then a couple weeks later, it's weighing on him. He talks to somebody else, and it turns out somebody else says it really matters.
Well, the town of Hempstead was there and inspected the job and said it's perfectly fine to leave that tank in
So
there.
maybe, let's just stop. Let's now go on the theory, okay, that it's perfectly fine to leave it, okay? But he doesn't want it there, and he paid you to take it out. And you saw the kind of job that it would, it's trouble. And according to you, you have to knock down a wall. You are clearly wrong because somebody did it without knocking down the wall. It's just that they had to put some effort. Okay, so for whatever reason, I don't care if he is just a neat freak and wants it out. If your contract included you doing it, you looked at it and assessed the amount you were going to charge him based on it, you change your mind about doing it, how do you not reimburse the fellow what it cost him to complete the contract you wouldn't complete? What's your defense?
My defense is I didn't take the tank out. And on my contract, it also says that I'm not responsible for oil tanks. You see that?
Why would I look at that when in your handwriting it says you are?
No, well, it's printed on my invoice.
That's right. And then you changed it by putting in your handwriting that you would take it out.
I understand that.
So what's your defense?
Now I'm changing my ways of doing things because Mr. Gittleson, so.
Listen, the contract is supposed to be a contract.
Yes.
You're supposed to do what's on it.
I understand that.
Okay? And I can understand how you might try to snow by and not do it because, oh, well, wait a minute, I shouldn't have put that in the contract because it looks like a lot of work. It's going to cost me too much in manpower. And I can understand how you might tell an owner, you know what, it's not hurting anybody. You can just leave it there. I don't know, scientifically speaking, whether that guy wanted the business and said that it would be dangerous or whether it wouldn't be dangerous. I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because I'm just a contracts gal.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay? It's simple for me. It's in black and white. It's one of the things, you didn't itemize the thing. It's one of the things you agreed to do for the $56.50. He paid you $56.50. Somebody else came in there and charged him $1,000 to get the thing out. If you had gotten the thing out, it wouldn't have cost you $1,000. Yeah. But you chose to fight it, and now here we are, and you don't look so good. And I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in the amount of $1,086.20.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that did not go so well for you.
That's it. It was expected.
You expected to lose?
Yeah.
So why did you just take the thing out in the first place if you knew you were doing the wrong thing?
It was too much of a job.
Too much of a
I
job.
changed my ways of
right, so,
way I write contracts.
Okay, so now you know you have to abide by whatever's in your contract. How have you changed the way you write your contract now?
I'm going to take the oil tank thing out of there. I'm not doing oil tanks.
All right, good luck.
All right,
Head right
thank you.
around the corner that way. And all right, so come on in here. Why'd you give the guy such a hard time with your oil tanks?
I didn't give him a hard time. We had a contract that we both signed that called for an oil tank removal. Okay, there's not about friendship, it's about business. He had a job responsibility to do. And I just like to say, you know, today wasn't just a victory for me. I mean, I love when the judge slams the gavel down. Bang, guilty, decision for the plaintiff. That was me. This was a victory also for every homeowner who's ever been lied to, cheated, or ripped off by an electrician, contractor, or plumber. Today we held one of them accountable. And I think that was a good deal to do. And
you wrapped it up right on time.
Thanks.
You're good.
Thanks. Can I say a quick shout out to my two daughters at home?
Harvey?
Is that right? I just want to say to my two daughters at home, yo, Heather, Paige, it's me, Daddy. I did it. I'm out.
You know, this happens a lot, that two people make a deal and one person says, look, I didn't anticipate that there were going to be all these problems once we started work, and now that there are problems, I need to modify the deal. I need to charge you more. The fact is, you can't do it. If you make a deal, it's your problem if there are unexpected obstacles. You should have investigated that before you signed.